friends, it's Diane, the Creative Inkster, and it is Monday, June 27th, 2022, and I'm here for a creative escape with you. I'm not sure what it's like where you are, but we've had this little bit of a cold front come through, and I started the day off with short sleeves, and check this out. I put this nice long sleeve top on, or sweater, and jeans and everything. Like, it was socks. Oh my goodness, it was just too cool today down here in the craft space / work space. I don't know if you can hear him in the background, but Riley's out there huffing and puffing, which he tends to do, just when he gets excited and goes up and down the stairs too much. Tonight's card, a little all over the place, I'll try to rein it in. Tonight's card is based on this one. Now, there's no prize, but if you can remember and tell me in the comments what this color is, well, it's not, I will tell you, one of our current colors. But if you can remember what it's called, well, you get bragging rights. Hi, Debbie. Thank you. Oh, I'm so excited to be a grandma, and I promise not to take up our time talking about my grandson, but my goodness, I'm sure every grandparent says the same thing, that their grandchild is just so amazing. So cute, and I can't wait to get back there on Wednesday to snuggle with him some more. All right, back to the cards. So this is the card that I'm using as my inspiration. I was going through my thank you cards to pull a few out from my stash, and I thought this would make a fun layout. So this is the one I made using our current products, because as a demonstrator, that's what we want to be doing, and I do need to add my white on the inside. But so very similar, and I have a couple of butterflies, which are kind of hard to see. And I apologize for the glare, but the sun is beautifully streaming in here beside me. So I'm going to show you how to cut these strips here and line them up. Well, lining them up is pretty darn easy, but I'm going to show you how to do this with this punch, which has two options for the tops. And also I'll show you one using my scissors. That takes a little bit more time, maybe? I don't know. We've got time. So I'm going to show you how to do this. This, thanks, is a set of dies that goes with the Amazing Silhouette stamp set. And so there's like a layer piece that is thicker, and then there's this beautiful scripty piece that fits right inside, and that's how you get, by cutting the two pieces out and gluing them together, you get that two-tone color. Hi, Barb. Thanks for being here. Thank you so much for the kind wishes. Oh my goodness, I started reading all of the comments, and I didn't even get through all of them as I was having supper. Oh my goodness. Hi, Pat. Thank you for your nice wishes. All right, so let's get started on the first one, or we'll just never get going. I just know if I just keep talking, that's what's going to happen. Alrighty, so here is my card base, and this is not the same color, although it's very similar. Like, you'd have to really know your colors, but I kind of said at the top of this, if you know the name of this old in color, it's not crushed curry, let me know. I'd be curious to know if you know it. So I've got the top embossed, because that just, adds a little bit more. And then I've got my strips here. So here's what you need if you want to jot them down. You see that there? I didn't do it very dark, and my camera's a bit of a ways up. So you need 7 strips. One of them is 4 by 3/4 of an inch. Do 2 at 3.5 by 3/4, 2 at 3 inches by 3/4, and 2 at 2.5 by 3/4, so that you end up with one big one, and then 2 that are like 1/2 an inch smaller, but they're all 3/4 of an inch wide, and then 2 1/2 an inch smaller again, and you'll see I only really use 2 different types of paper, and then 2 even smaller, and we're just going for a little graduated look. Now, you could glue those straight down like that with straight edges and not have any problems with it all, but I want to show you how to do the little flagged ends, because that's kind of fun. And then there's my thanks. So I'm going to slide this in this punch. This is a this is one of the I'm going to just call it out, because like my brain's a little fried here. Let me pull out the catalog so I get the right name. Okay, we have a couple of these in the catalog. Lovely Labels Pick-a-Punch or Banners Pick-a-Punch. And that's the Banners one that I'm using here. It's on page 152 of the annual catalog. It's $33, but what you get is a banner in any length that you want, but in 6 different sizes, if you will. So 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, and 1 inch wide on both sides of it. And then you can just make it as long as you want. So it's really, really versatile from that perspective. All right, so slide this one in, and I do like to flip it over and look. I find that with the smaller pieces, it can get skewed and off its little axis there a little easily. So this is about the smallest piece you can work with. The smallest, which I have at 2.5 inches long. That's about the smallest that you can push in there and get it back out again. Okay, I tried going smaller, didn't work out so well. So we're going to do that. We're going to go in with this one. We're going to do the same thing. Could you put 2 in at a time? Oh, probably. Maybe we'll try that on the next one. I just feel like I might goof it up. And goes in with this one. Here we go. So this card does take a little bit of time to do. That's why I started with the smaller pieces, because it's harder to get them to go through. So I'm going to put 2 in, slide them down the 3. Now 2 is not going to go well because they want to slide at different times going in. But I like to kind of take a look at the back so that I can see that it's centered. Because it's designed to take different widths, it can wiggle out of place on you sometimes. And that frustrates me, especially if I've gone and stamped the edges and then it doesn't really line up nicely for me. I should show you how I actually lined it up. So there's grooves on these that are 3/4 of an inch, 1 inch, and 1 1/4 inch. And that's what you're sticking your paper in. And actually, I guess it goes 1/2 inch too. I didn't realize that. It can actually go 1/2 inch, a little bit smaller. So does it 4 grooves? 1, 2, no, it's still 3. It's 1/2, 3/4, and 1 inch. I think I said it right the very first time. All right, I'm going to slide this guy in. I love this color. This is one of the new ink colors. So the wider they get, I feel like the easier and better control you have. Plus, you know when you cut paper and you end up with it being off by like 1/16 of an inch or something? That's where you really notice it. Something like that. And then the little pieces with the cute little teacups in it. One. Hi, Linda. Thanks for dropping in. Those great punches for making tags. Yes, tags for any season. Like you can just make a whole bunch of long tags. And the stamps that I'm going to use when I show you how to do this with scissors and not the punch, I'm going to show you the stamp set it was actually originally sort of marketed with, if you will. All right, so while I'd love to start with the center one, I have found that it is easier to start on the outside and work your way in, because you can overlap. Actually, I am not telling the truth. I'm actually going to butt these up close together. So I'm going to just do a little test run here. And I'm going to just have them end to end or side to side. And I'm going to see how much I need from the edge for it to fit evenly. And then I can just start with the first one. Does that make sense? Here we go. Okay, don't get slipping around on me. And then if you don't like it and you've got too much hanging off the edge, you can just trim it down. So I like to sort of eyeball it. So like to me that's going to be just fine, that little probably 1/8 of an inch on the left. So that's how I'm going to start. So let's move these guys up and out of the way. We're going to grab liquid glue for this. Small pieces of paper to paper for me would not go well if I tried to use Stampin' Seal, because it is a very strong adhesive and I probably would not do well. So I'm shooting to have them, the points, be equidistant at the top and the bottom. I don't measure stuff. That's just too complicated. So then the next piece is going to go in here, and no one's going to look at it that closely that you need to measure it. I mean, it's not like it's folding up or anything like that, right? If it's folding up a special card way at a fun fold and it's got to be perfectly get lined up, well, that's a different story. But this is just fun, easy stuff. And if you don't have glue, so it's solid glued all the way down, if you've got little pieces that are flipping up a little bit, that is good. I kind of like that. I'm the same with ribbon. I don't want it all stuck down because it needs to flow a little bit. It has to have a little bit of ebb and flow. So when I get to this piece, I'm wanting to follow that pattern I've got, but see once you get to the centerpiece how good your measurements were for top to bottom, but I'm okay with that. That worked out really, really well. I'm kind of happy. Plus, this is going to be a simple card to do. I don't want it to be overly complicated. Here we go. There we go. Those look really nice opposite each other. And you could use 7 different patterns of paper if you wanted. You could use all kinds of options. And it depends on the pattern paper that you choose, because you might have some that have all the same pattern but different colors in your pattern paper. So like our in colors, where we've got 5 colors and 4 different patterns, and you can just make it a little bit different rather than all this different color. And see, look at how that worked out fairly well. I'm kind of happy with that. Oop, there's the sun. This would have been better if it wasn't on crushed curry, but that's okay. All right, so I have my thanks. I cut these out with the dies. And here is the base one. Now, when I use the base one, I'm comfortable putting liquid glue on that and sticking it down, or even some of our mini dimensionals. When it comes to cutting out the more intricate inside piece, I put our adhesive sheets on the back. So I put a little piece of adhesive sheet, maybe, how wide is this? 3.5 inches wide by about 1 inch tall, and I stick it on a piece of cardstock. And from there, I cut it out. I'm trying to get my fingers under here. I think I cut my nails too short. Let's see. There we go. Just get it started. There we go. Okay, and then I can just peel the backing off. And it's okay if it's sticky on my fingers. It's never going to lose all its sticky. And it's totally okay if it tears, because you're going to be pushing it back together. It's a word that goes all together. So it's totally fine if it tears a little. No one's going to notice. And then let's grab our outline piece. And we will slip this down. There we go. Right over top. And it's pretty easy to put in place. Now, if you don't have adhesive sheets and you've cut these out, it's okay. I've done that too. You can just use your liquid glue, and I just do little dots on the back of it. I don't try to cover the entire letter in liquid glue, or it's going to be a hot mess. I just put little teeny dots with this end of my liquid glue, and that works well. The other thing you could do is take a craft sheet, if you have something that's silicone like this, and take a sponge, like a makeup sponge, and you squeeze some of the liquid glue out, and you use your sponge, and you just daub it on here. It will not stick to the outside part where the silicone mat is, but it will stick to the paper. So that's another option. Right, this is going to go on here for the thanks, and I think we'll just glue it down in the interest of time, because we've got another card to do. So again, as I mentioned, just little dots. When your glue, your liquid glue, is fairly new, it's easier to get lots of little dots. As it's getting older, you know, it doesn't go quite as easily. There you go. So I just put little dots all over the back of it, like that. Flip it over, center it, and stick it down. I won't put any embellishments on this for now, but that's how you do it when you want to use the punch. You might also have a different kind of punch that lets you do those kind of looks too. So there's that one. Let's grab another one. Has anyone thought about what this color is? This was my inspiration card for tonight. This yellow, not crushed curry, very close, but this is a retired in color. So I'm curious to know if anyone remembers what it was called. Now I'm going to use some really bright pop colors. This is the, oh, I didn't emboss it. Oh, okay. Didn't emboss this one this time. I guess this was going to go on the inside. That was the thinking when I cut this. That's okay. Non-embossed is good too. We'll show a really simplified version. Or afterwards, once I've got all the pieces down, I could totally go in and emboss it. Now these little pieces have a right side up. So let's get our hearts going in the right direction. There's our largest piece in the middle. This is new butterfly paper from the new annual catalog. It is called where is it? Butterfly Kisses. I bet that's what it's called. It is the Butterfly Kisses 6x6 paper with lots of beautiful colors in there. Lots and lots. And then we have these little embellishments that go with their little fun flowers, they're called. All right, back to our layout. So I know it's going to work the same way because the card base is the same size. So again, I could leave it just like that, or I can flag the ends. So let me show you how I flag the ends. Now for this, I'll probably do 2 at a time to go a little bit faster. So I'll do the 2 that are the same length. I just cut down the middle, and then I cut from the outside edge. It's a little less perfect in the sense of, are you going to go down the same distance on all of them? Or are you going to have them a little bit not quite the same? It's okay. It's your card. You do it the way you want, and the person who receives it will be happy. Right? It doesn't have to be perfect. The one saying I have learned through Stampin' Up, and probably mostly in the last 2 years, is done is better than perfect. You don't have to do everything perfectly. Plus, I don't have time. I've got too much going on, too much I want to do. And I think on this one, you know, actually, if they were different lengths, it might add a little more character to the card, now that I think about it. If you just bill it as it was supposed to look that way, no one's going to be the wiser. No one's going to know. Let's get those little scraps out the way. They don't see the original card. They're not watching this video. You're watching this video. Okay, 2 more to go. So we cut down the center and we cut in from the 2 outside edges. So it's going to probably be a little bit different size each time. That's okay. It's nice to have the punch though, and I'm going to show you how I use the punch with the stamp set it was kind of intended to be used with in a second. And then here's our last piece, and we'll do the same thing for gluing them. Another way you can do this rather than trying to do points on the end is to cut across and just do a little half point. So you do you. You could round the edges. There's lots of choices. There we go. All right, there's all of our little bits and pieces out the way. And we're ready to put our card together. I'll get my pieces kind of in order and the right side up, because as I'm talking, you know, it's easy to kind of goof up. So long as your pattern paper matches in colors, it's going to look great. Bumblebee. Ah, older than that, Barbara. A fair bit older than that. We haven't had buttons like this in the line for a long time, and this paper all came at the same time. So think a little older than Bumblebee, although a really nice color. So we've had a couple along that line. I've not been a huge fan of crushed curry, I must say. I like fall colors, and I think of it as a fall color, but not exactly my favorite. But I liked this one. And remember, there'll be like bumblebee, but that was all one word, but they're alliterations like, is that right? Alliteration, is that the word? Where they start with the same first letter, like Crush Curry, Pacific Point, you know, all of our colors except there's one that isn't basic gray. All of our colors are otherwise like that. Soft seafoam, okay, is a little bit off too. It's not exactly the same. And when I'm done this card, I'm going to show you a little glimpse into the life of a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator trying to plan her activities. It's a little sheet of paper and my list. And then I'm going to get you to help hold me accountable by cheering me on or something. Because I have a lot to get done in a short period of time. Oh, I'm so glad this didn't work out because I can show you how you can fix it. I love it like that. Okay, so this one, either I cut the paper too wide. No, it's 5.5. Or I didn't go over, or I went over too far on the left to start. So you see how I have a thin edge here, but a much wider edge there? Well, we can fix that. We just grab the paper trimmer and we line it up where we think it'll go, where it'll work. And you just slice off a strip. Now that's not enough. I need to slice more off. I need it to be a little bit thinner. There we go. So now my card is just a little bit thinner this way, but it's even. Pineapple, close, but no, not pineapple either. That was a nice bright color. There we go. So the only thing I need to think about is my white sheet's going to go on the inside. Now it's going to be too wide. So this guy is now 5 1/4, so I want to cut this down to 5 inches for the inside. Oop. There we go. It's going to still fit in an envelope, and no one's going to notice that it is that little itty bitty bit shorter, which is what I like. There we go. There's the inside panel for writing on. Now we're going to do some stamping on the outside. So we're going to bring this punch back in. And this is the stamp set that was originally sold with either this one or one of these triple punch building punches we have. And it's because these greetings can be all different depths. So I am going to choose, I had this in mind ahead of time, Cherished Friend. Miles apart, but still in my heart. I think that's good because I have a friend I want to send a card to. So the only thing you need to know once you get this on your block is how wide the greeting is from the longest point to the longest point. Grab our trusty ruler, and 3/4 of an inch is just enough. So I need this piece to be 3/4 of an inch wide. I think it's an inch, so I'm going to trim it down a wee bit. So I just needed to know, like, is it 3/4 wide, 1/2 inch wide, or 1 inch wide? All right, so that's what I'm going to stamp on. I'm going to cut the end first. Here's my little trick. I'm going to cut the one end first because that way I'll know my placement for punching. Here is Sweet Sorbet Mustard. Oh, that was a good color. That was a very good color. No, it's not mustard. And yes, it is cute and a great way to use up your scraps. Absolutely. So let's grab our greeting, add a little bit of ink to it, and then I'm going to put it over here. Try to center it best I can, top to bottom. Oh, wow, that worked out fairly well. Pretty happy with that. And Connie Stewart, if you've ever watched her videos, had shown us way out in the beginning how to kind of measure this off. So where's that piece I cut off? The little piece of white that I cut off. There it is. So I'm going to put this on my grid paper, and I can see if I line this up at 5 inches, Actually, I'm going to put the little piece back attached to it, okay? And then I can get a sense of how far. If I line that up there, and I'm going to have it cut off, so it's really about 3/8 of an inch longer than the end of your word. That's what you need, 3/8 of an inch on this particular one. Does that make sense? So I'm going to line the end of my word up at 3/8 of an inch. So there's half. 3/8. I'm trying to see it on the trimmer. It might be a little bit tight. Might have to do it again. That's okay. We slide this in, punch it out, and there we have it. Yeah, it's a bit over to the edge. That's okay. I'm good with that. And then I'm going to put some dimensionals on this. Pop it up a little bit. So I had these left over from Paper Pumpkin or maybe our kit collections, I think. They come in a really nice size, and just use those up. Miles apart, but still in my heart. Needs to go over here a little bit. And I'll add some things around it. And that's my use up your scraps. So I like this original one with the button on it. That was one way. This one I haven't put anything else on it, but in this case I've used that die. I've used the die with some butterflies, and this one's popped up with a greeting, and I'll add some embellishments around it. So because everybody wants to know, this was Hello Honey. It was a lovely yellowish color, a bit of a precursor to Bumblebee. It's very much like Bumblebee, so you're really close with that. All right, so as I promised, here's a little spotlight into Diane's thinking process. I have a bunch of swap cards to make, and this one's probably going to be shown. So if you're in my swap group, don't look. This is a card I made for my team swaps. There's only 3 of us this month, so that made it pretty easy. But I have a lot to do between June 30th and July 15th. Because I need to get out 10 for this swap, 10 for this swap, actually 20 for this swap. 3, they're ready to go in the mail. They're sitting over on the table. I have a class coming up that's I got to prep 50 cards for. We're going to do a class with my Elmira group for thank you cards for their group. It's on July 8th, so I got to get it in gear to make sure that I'm ready have everything ready for pickup by the coordinator by July 6th. But I got to prep 50 cards. July 18th, I'm doing a class with a group at where I used to work, and they're making 20. And there's sort of a panel, 9.5 by 9.5 inch panel, decorative wall art piece, and we're doing 20, so I got to get those prepped. And I'm doing invitations for a friend's 35th wedding anniversary, and I want to get those out to her in July. So there's a glimpse into having too much on your plate and the things you have to prep for. But that's what I love doing. And so here is my swap card for my team. I'll give you a quick sneak peek of this arrow fold. And if you'd like to know how to do this, I don't think I've done it as a Technique Tuesday, so let me put it on the list for Technique Tuesday. I'll take a quick peek back and see. But it has some new celebration paper and this greeting from a new stamp set in the July to December mini catalog. I love this. It's so cute. Tomorrow night is Technique Tuesday. Because I've got a lot going on and tomorrow's an avid stamper class night, rather than jig the time and all that, I've pre-recorded Technique Tuesday, and it will run live at 7 o'clock here for everybody. So thank you for kibitzing. Thank you for your lovely, kind comments about our welcoming Alistair to our family, and I hope you're keeping well. I'm going to be popping some cards up there during the week for you to take a look at, and thank you for joining me. See you next time. Bye for now.